So if things weren't already bad enough for U.S. farmers, the Department of Agriculture has furloughed 49% of its 86,000 employees so far, and today we're on day 10. Specifically, they furloughed those workers and agencies who are handling grants and loans to farmers. So any grants or loans that we're going to given to farmers who need it at this time are currently suspended. Folks, the source for this is Reuters. My name is Nick. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Farmers, $21 billion in pesos. How much is that in soybeans? Oh, that's right. You don't have a fucking account in Argentina, but China fucking does. So let me get this right. It wasn't enough to lose your farm, lose your business, lose your workers, lose your trailers, lose your fucking home. Now you're losing your motherfucking business with fucking China to Argentina. But that's not the best one yet. The best one yet is fucking Trump. Cheeto, your boy, is bailing him out with $21 billion fucking loan from the United States while the fucking government is closed before he even cut you a $10 billion welfare fucking check. You can't make stupid up. I know you're not telling the American people that what the fuck you're going through or what the fuck Cheeto is doing for you makes fucking sense. You want them to bail fucking Argentina the fuck out, take your motherfucking business the fuck away, and then cut you a motherfucking check for $10 billion fucking dollars. Tell me that makes sense. Make that make fucking sense to the American fucking people. That's a hard fucking sell, even for you dumb motherfuckers.
I know everyone is FAFO with the farmers right now, and I totally feel it. But I interviewed Dr. Chris Jones, who is a former professor at Iowa University, about farm policy. What got us here? Like, in Iowa, why are they growing so much corn and soybeans instead of, like, apples and potatoes and green beans? It's farm policy. The model for decades has been get big or get out. If you don't have hundreds or thousands of acres, quit farming. Dr. Jones said that during the first Trump administration, farmers were getting about 40% of their income from Uncle Sam, from subsidies. During the Biden administration, farmers made more than they have ever made with far fewer subsidies. And now we're back into the same position again with Trump now. I asked Dr. Jones, why would Trump destroy their market? And he said, because he doesn't know what he's doing. The same reason everything is happening under the regime. They don't know what they're doing. Anyway, it's a short interview. You can find it there.
Trump's Argentina bailout might be his dumbest trade move yet. It's not big enough to be his worst, but it is so dumb. Let me give you a quick recap. China's boycotting our soybeans because of the trade war. And completely unrelatedly, we announced a big bailout for Argentina. And Argentina returned the favor by the very next day, dropping their export taxes and selling all of their soy to China for cheap. And on Thursday, Trump still gave them their bailout. Dumb. At least bail our farmers out first. Technically, Trump's bailout isn't a bailout. It's dumber. It's not a loan, so we're not going to get paid back. There's no exchange of goods. We're not even introducing American companies into any new markets. Trump just bought $20 billion worth of Argentine pesos. You know, Argentine pesos, the most notorious hyperinflation currency in the Western Hemisphere. The result of corruption so bougie, they made a whole musical about it. So what are we getting in return? What's our return on investment besides 29 trillion Argentine pesos? Goodwill. That's it. We hope they appreciate it. So Trump will go through that in about, what, I don't know, one Truth Social post? If Trump had structured this deal in such a way that we had permanently gotten Argentina to ditch China and team back up with us, this could have been something. Argentina's got a lot to offer, and we don't want to see our soybean farmers get undercut like that ever again. But they must be fuming right now. They get nothing out of this, nothing to offset their losses, and nothing to guarantee it doesn't happen again next year. We didn't even lock Argentina in on our side by buying China out of their bailout, because yeah, Argentina's double dipping. They got two bailouts. They're playing both sides of the trade war against each other, and they're laughing all the way to the bank. And the funniest part is, the way their government is structured, it's not even the central bank or our boy President Milei who's calling the shots on trade talks. It's the governors. It's Parliament. We're not even bribing the right people. When we were prepping for our last episode of Is It Bad for the Economy, where we break this deal down a little bit more, I asked Banker Bill, isn't this just Treasury Secretary Bessent covering for his hedge fund bros? And he said, maybe that's probably where this is coming from. But look, there's a lot of good reasons to do a good deal with Argentina. I asked him again yesterday when we got the details, and he said, this isn't a bailout for Argentina. This is a bailout for the speculators who bought in on Argentina 22 months ago. So if Banker Bill thinks it's a hedge fund bailout, I definitely do. China's got cheap soybeans. Argentina's got lots and lots and lots of cash. And we've got 29 trillion new tissues to wipe away our tears. Dumb.
Here's how Trump destroyed the farming economy in America to bail out his Wall Street buddies. A couple weeks ago, we bailed out Argentina with $40 billion. They've got a debt spiral going on, so they constantly need foreign currency like US dollars in order to stabilize the value of their peso. President of Argentina, Javier Milei, is a close ally of President Trump, and Trump doesn't want to see Javier Milei fail. But also, importantly, Trump and his Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, have a lot of buddies on Wall Street that invested billions of dollars into Argentina with the hopes that Javier Milei would turn the situation around. If we didn't bail out Argentina and their currency went into freefall, all of those investments by all of those Wall Street goons would have gone to shit, and so they needed to protect them with that bailout. But here come the farmers. Like the amazing ally he is, the moment Javier Milei got that bailout, he got rid of Argentina's tariffs on soybean exports. And so China is the #1 buyer of soybeans around the whole globe. All of a sudden, Argentinian soybeans are now cheaper than American soybeans. So they buy a whole bunch of them. Also, we happen to be in a trade war with China. So if China can find both cheaper soybeans from a country that isn't America, they're going to buy from them as much as they can. In a place like here in Indiana, we are the #1 producing soybean state in the whole country. And so if all of our farmers spend all of this time, energy, and money growing soybeans and there's nobody to buy them, that means that they've lost a bunch of money. Now, don't worry, Congress is going to bail out the farmers, but that's because all of the big banks and the tractor companies and the big agricultural companies, they own Congress. And if those farmers go under and they can't pay their debts back to those companies, then Congress is going to hear from them. But also what's wild about all of this is that Americans don't eat soybeans very much. We give massive subsidies to farmers so that they can overproduce soybeans. And I mean, it's probably good that we still have a domestic production of food, but like we way overproduce these things. It's kind of crazy.
Some of these farmers really fucking bump their heads on something. This dude... Watch this. Just watch this.
Thanks a lot, China. How do us farmers recover from China fucking us over? I'm out here cutting soybeans today, and I don't even know what the point is. These are some of the best soybeans I've ever seen in my life. And it's like, hey, I got a great soybean harvest this year. Look, there's nothing we can do with those golden yellow soybeans. Guys, gold yellow soybeans are what China buys the most, and China is the only country that buys golden yellow soybeans. But guess what? China said, nope, we're not buying your golden yellow soybeans this year. You need to figure your shit out, China.
Okay, so where has this dude been? Somebody needs to send this video directly to Xi Jinping so he can have a good laugh. Hey, bruh, let me explain something to you. I can't even get it out. China said, fuck you. Fuck y'all tariffs. We are dealing with Argentina. And to sweeten that deal for Argentina, y'all bailout money in the form of $20 billion has just been finalized. And it's going to Argentina. Now, they say it's a loan. We bought their Argentine peso, and they say it's a loan. Any way you look at it, it's a bailout. So, Donald Trump fucked y'all twice. You voted for tariffs. You didn't know what a tariff was, and clearly your farm looks like it's producing, and you're a commodities farmer, so you must make money. You must have a brain. How did you not know that a tariff was going to affect you in the long run? And how did you not anticipate China saying, well, fuck this. We can buy soybeans from another country. Okay. But see, y'all, the find out to their fuck around is on full display. I think it's funny. And you get what you voted for. And, sir, it sounds like that's what you voted for.
Well,
We have more people having the day they voted for.
China normally buys more than half of America's soybeans, but has bought none this year amid the ongoing trade war. Gaffner says farmers like himself, who overwhelmingly voted for the president, are caught in the crossfire.
We can't help but feel very anxious of wondering why it's taking so long to get this resolved.
Are you angry?
Well, whenever you see the administration meet in Spain and they talk about TikTok instead of farming, whenever we're getting ready to harvest, our clock is already TikToking away. The farther we go into this season, the more we're going to lose. And China should have been buying our beans already, and they're not. It's like crickets. We don't want the aid. We want the trade.
Gaffner says one-time relief is not a long-term solution.
If China starts buying elsewhere, which they are doing now, once they establish those trade routes, it becomes more difficult for them to come back to the U.S. to buy their commodities. Once we lose that, we may never get it back again. And that's huge for next generations.
It's an endless cycle that we're caught in right now. And this is all I know. Can't do it any better.
He has tried to keep his expenses low, but with tariffs, all of those expenses have gone up, and the cost for machinery has gone up, the cost for repairs has gone up, fertilizer, all those input costs are much higher now. And then on top of it, China, the single biggest soy purchaser in the world, has decided not to buy any U.S. soy as a result of those tariffs from the Trump administration. That means right now he is stuck with all this extra produce, and he doesn't even know really what to do with it, whether he should hold on to it or sell it at an extremely low price.
How are farmers sort of making ends meet?
A lot of debt. So in the case of Ewalt, it costs about $1 million to operate his farm every year. And so all farmers really operate with loans, a combination of government loans, private loans, and with President Trump promising that this aid package was going to come because they're being so severely hurt by these tariffs. And there's a delay now because of the government shutdown. I spoke with an agricultural economist at Iowa State University, Chad Hart. Here's what he had to say.
Payments can't flow today because the government shut down. It also means that, if you're looking for a government loan right now, you're not able to obtain a new loan. They'll continue to service old loans, but new loans are now shut off. And one of the big things for the market, as we're concerned there, is the lack of government reports. That will leave the market with a lot more uncertainty as we move through harvest than we usually have.
So the announcement that was supposed to come from the Trump administration of somewhere around $12 billion, we are told right now it can't come because the USDA workers that would put that into place right now, Vlad, they've been furloughed.
To the second gentleman who was interviewed, you're going to have to forgive me if your tears don't fucking move me right now. And to the first gentleman, you don't have to bother telling us that you're a Trump supporter. We could tell by your little... We need the trade, not the aid. Our clock is tick-tocking away. You were just waiting to come up with all those little rhymes and catchphrases for your interview, weren't you? You guys voted for this. He told you he was going to do it. He did it to you the first time around in his first administration. He told you he was going to do it the second time around. You still fucking voted for him. You are having the day you voted for. You are having and by the way, $12 billion worth of bailout to the farmers when he gave Argentina $20 billion, and Argentina is currently selling their agricultural exports to China. Lose your farm then. Fuck you.
We live rural. 2 blocks away, cows. Other direction, more cows. Another direction, horses and more cows. Surrounding us, farmers. It's wonderful. Americana, land of independence and self-reliance, strong people. And they're selling their farms left and right because their children not want to take over. It's too much work. I've heard from people who know the farmers. Carla and I were talking about this the other day. She said another problem is the equipment is so damn expensive. And they can't muster up the wherewithal to get the equipment. So we're going to be subjected to 2 things. More houses are going to go in with more people that we have to feed, with less farms, because they're going to be building on farmland. And then the second thing is that the big growers are going to come in, and they are going to set the price for the food. So, how many of you grow food of any type? I used to grow sprouts when I didn't have property, when I didn't have land. And boy, were those sprouts good. They were very good. In fact, I took some to a friend of mine who works in the produce section at Boise Co-op. And she couldn't believe the difference. What they were selling was half the quality and $10 a pound. So, what I am saying is you better start thinking of growing your own food. Summer, winter, fall, whatever. And it's hard. My mom could grow anything just by planting a seed. God bless her. She was an alcoholic, and she had a relationship, long-term relationship, and was still married to my dad. Okay, so she was flawed, brilliant woman, brilliant. And she knew how to grow things. Me, my magic is I'll go out and find enough green beans to finish the can that I'm doing, the quart that I'm doing. So I have my gift. It's not growing. It's leaving it alone, and then it grows when I turn my back. So it's a different life. It's hard. It teaches you a lot. And it surprises you. Janet loves it. I do too. But it's a bitch. Okay? Mother Nature isn't controlled by you. No. She has her own damn thing. So, you have seasons of growing outside. And then what happens when it's too cold to grow outside and you don't have a greenhouse? Well, hydroponics. And that's a challenge. So Janet and I do both. Poorly, but we do both. And this coming winter, I am going to dive deep into hydroponics to grow lettuce and maybe tomatoes. Janet I'll show you I'll do a video on what Janet loves to do. She loves to clone tomatoes. And when you clone tomatoes, they are the same age as the mother plant, so they will grow tomatoes. It's amazing. I took a clone off of one of Carla's cherry tomatoes. The tomatoes are this big, and they're orange. Boy, were they tasty. Oh, my God. So, my lecture right now is learn how to grow something. Sprouts. And then the next door neighbor grows carrots and wants sprouts, and you want carrots, and you can trade. We are entering a time where the community comes together. And boy, am I happy about that. We have to bind together. We have to come together. Each one of us stepping up to the plate so that we offer the community something that we can give. Good night.
This is going to be an 8-minute masterclass explaining exactly how they are going to start killing us. And I know it's a brash statement, and I know it's a kind of moment, but you need to hear it. If you don't have 8 minutes, hold the screen right there. It'll go faster. And we're first going to start with someone who is calling upon me to explain myself.
You guys are aware that they're going to kill us,
Hold on.
right? Like, they're going to start.
This shit's so bloody irresponsible, I can't even put it into words. 5 million, whatever it is, voted for Kamala Harris. Even more, like myself, voted for a third-party candidate. Even more voted for neither of these candidates. Explain to me the mechanism where the Trump administration is going to kill 200 million people. I just want to know how they're going to do it.
Happy to do so, but I do want to point out that you are part of the problem as someone who voted for a third-party candidate because it is equivalent to throwing your vote away. We know historically and statistically that third-party candidates aren't ever going to come close to winning a presidency. So your vote was essentially thrown out, thus making it easier for Trump to win. Anyway, here's a short list of how Americans are going to be killed over the next however many years this regime reigns. Number one, cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare. We know right now, as it stands, Republicans are unwilling to budge on healthcare. That's part of the reason why the government is shut down, or so they're citing. And we know that healthcare premiums can rise up to 75% for some Americans. Now, here's the deal. When those premiums go up that high, people are not going to want to be insured. It's just too costly. People can't afford it. So as we see more and more uninsured Americans, we are also going to see an increase in unmet medical needs. We'll also see delays in care because people are like, I can tough it out. I don't need to go get care. It's going to be too expensive. As we see the increase in unmet medical needs and the delays in care, we will also see, obviously, mortality rates increase for certain conditions. Think things like cancer or even heart issues. The other thing with uninsured Americans is they are less likely to go get routine checkups, preventative care. For example, I just went to a doctor for a yearly visit and they don't take my insurance anymore. And I paid out of pocket over $200 just for a basic routine checkup. Was that my decision? Yes, but I'm also not a single mother of four, like many Americans are, who's working multiple jobs just to put food on the table. If someone isn't sick in my house or showing signs or symptoms of an illness, I feel I can put that preventative care on the back burner. Uninsured Americans are also less likely to correctly manage their chronic illnesses and are less likely to fill their prescriptions regularly, again, because it is costly. Also, on the note of healthcare, 2 days ago, Friday, October 10th, 2025, we saw approximately 4,100 federal workers lose their jobs. This included cuts to the CDC. And when we cut jobs at the CDC, we lose our strength in preparedness for pandemics and epidemics, just like the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020 and honestly beyond. So if/when, heaven forbid, another pandemic or an epidemic comes through, we are not going to be prepared and more people will die. Still healthcare related, but not completely, we see environmental rollbacks happening within this regime and they want to do more. For example, they are trying to rescind the EPA greenhouse gas endangerment findings. They want to relax air quality rules. And all of this is going to increase particulate matter in the air, which then leads to more cases of respiratory illnesses. On top of that, we are going to experience faster climate change. And as that rapidly speeds up, we see more and more deadly storms that do what? Kill Americans. Immigration enforcement, if we can even call it that, more so a terrorist group, is just disappearing people off the streets without any identification, without checking for identification on these individuals, without warrants. People are being picked up and disappeared. And when that happens, not only is it horrifying from a humanitarian's perspective, but it is also horrifying from a health perspective and mortality rate perspective. When you detain someone who is elderly, has a chronic illness, needs medical care in terms of medications and things, and you do not provide those things for them, their risk of death increases greatly. Also, when we pull certain key family members who are caregivers of both children and or the elderly off the street, then those individuals also increase their risk of illness, death, etc. On top of all this, people, even American citizens, are afraid to go to places like the ER or receive any sort of social services that improve their quality of life because they're terrified that they are going to be, again, nabbed off the street, thrown in vans, and disappeared. So if I am non-white in this country and I am uninsured and I have a heart attack, I have to decide, is it worth going to the ER for medical attention when I could possibly be profiled and then just carried away by ICE, never to be seen again, just because I was seeking medical help? Let's also check in with where we are with foreign policy, because since this regime has taken over, we have taken an even more confrontational approach to our relationships around the world. We have bombed Iran. We have blown up ships/boats that they are claiming are from Venezuela and they're drug runners or cartel members without any proof. We are taking the offensive route. We are killing people without any solid information. And so what happens is as you do that more and more, this causes larger tensions around the world. And these limited strikes can escalate into larger scale conflicts, which then in turn would cause both military and also, in some cases, civilian deaths. I'll pick one more out of a hat, which is gun policy. So as we've seen these school and church and nightclub and all of the other shootings that have happened in 2025, we've had Donald Trump take to the microphone and explain that he would like to have a National Guard member stationed at every single school around the country. Well, this increases the presence of guns. Also, you have states like Florida where they are open carry. Like you can literally take your Rambo-sized gun and go shopping at public supermarkets for your pub sub. It is legal to do in the state of Florida. So as we see gun reform move into a more lax position, there's just more access to guns. And more access to guns means more casualties via gun deaths, even in the cases of accidents. And if you're still with me after all of this time and you still don't believe that they are going to start killing us, well, here's an article from The Root that talks about Stephen Miller's relationship with Trump. It says Miller was behind Trump signing dozens of executive orders in January in order to flood the zone and scatter the courts. They confused the American people, the judicial system, the media, everything. It was Miller who was the voice of reason during a group chat thread, which would later be at the center of Signalgate. And shockingly, Miller was the official who ordered ICE agents to target Home Depot, skipping the typical practice of honoring lists of suspected, undocumented citizens in his own home state. Trump even said in a campaign meeting last year that if it was up to Miller, there would be 100 million people living in the United States who would all look like him. I am 100% certain that I am not being irresponsible. I gave you the headline that you needed to pay attention.